Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Plagazi M, and on today's video I'm going to be demonstrating how to do this rubber band and bantu knots hairstyle. Okay, so this is what it looks like at different angles. I also attempted doing a close-up view of this hairstyle just to make sure that one sees it properly in order for them to be enthusiastic about learning how to do it. And I hope it will add value to your knowledge on how to style your own hair or how to style someone else's hair in case you've decided to cut your hair or whatever. So this is what it looks like even on a close-up, and it's really cute and clean and it's just worth it. So without further talking, let's get started with the demo. So I started off by parting my hair in the middle into two large sections. So the middle parting simply starts at the front on my forehead and goes all the way back to my nape. Now this is where the two mirrors come in. So I simply take the hand mirror to check at the back of my head that my parting is as straight as I need it to be by looking in the big mirror that's in front of me. Now I will part on the sides of my head above my ears, because this is where I'm going to do the two braids that are coming down to the sides, and I will do this on both sides, for the right and on the left. To ensure that my parted lines don't get blurred, I twist that hair just to keep it out of the way. Now that I'm done sectioning the small sections for the sides, I will start working with the hair that is at the top by dividing it into sections which are much larger than what is on the sides. And I prefer dividing it into sections because that makes it easier for me to work with it, and it gives me direction as to what exactly I am doing. These are the rubber bands that I will be using for today's look. They are by Reflections, and you can get them at any ShopRite or Checkers store, but you can get rubber bands also at Clicks and Discount or at any other beauty supply store. Once I'm done with the larger sections, I come back to the smaller sections and divide that into two squares. Then I check that my parting is straight with the hand mirror. Once that's confirmed, I spray the section with some water because that makes the hair a bit softer, which means it's easier to work with. And once that is done, I'll be using the mouldin gel wax just to lay down the hair on the edges, just a small amount, you don't need too much. So I'll be placing that at the base of the hair just to make sure that the hair lays flat once I start braiding it. After placing the gel, I go in with an old toothbrush and I brush that in to make sure that it does not appear like as a white residue. I'll be using Darling Hair, the style 1 million braids in the color 1, and I've already prepped the hair that I'll be using on the sides. I grab my own natural hair and have it as a third piece of the braid, while the two pieces are the artificial hair, and I start creating a braid with all three pieces. And once I feel the artificial hair is well secured onto my own hair, I divide the artificial hair into two pieces, now having 4 artificial pieces, and then I attach those 2 pieces from the artificial hair onto my natural hair and continue braiding down because now I have 3 pieces. And that is how I attach artificial hair onto my own natural hair in order to make a braid. But there are other methods of doing this. This is just how I choose to do it. I am now done with this side and I'm happy with the braids on the side, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. So as I did first time, I will divide the section into 2 squares, then spray it with some water, apply the gel, brush the gel with an old toothbrush, and then create the braids attaching the artificial hair. Please note that everything that I'm using on this video, be it a product or an apparatus, it is all listed in the description box. So to find out a list of all the things that I use, just check out the description box. Once I'm done with the side sections, I start working on the top sections, and I'll start off by parting from the side all the way up to the middle section, dividing that side into 2 sections with a straight line from the side, and then I'll keep the hair that is at the back away from the hair that is at the front with an elastic band. But that elastic band broke while I was trying to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So if you guys know of rubber bands that are better than these, please let me know in the comments section. Now that that's secured, I start working on the front. And I am going to divide this into 2 because I want to have 2 rows, and I try to make it as straight as I possibly can. As you guys can see, this takes quite some effort, and you might have to repeatedly do it just until you get it right. Once I'm happy with the 2 rows, I part out the first square on the first row. That will be my first square, and I then spray this section with some water because again I want things to be easier for me and for my hair to be a bit softer than what it currently is. And then I will use a rubber band to keep that section of hair away from the section that I am working on. Apply some gel wax onto the first square that I parted out, and then I will go over this square again with the old toothbrush to lay down the hair that is at the base and just to make sure that it is nice and flat. And for the front, I'll be using the medium-sized rubber bands, but before using them, I'm going to first oil them to make sure that when I take down the style, they slip off the hair and they don't tear out my natural hair. I then take the rubber band and start tying the hair of the first square that I parted out such that it's tight enough to my comfort. Please make sure that you don't make this too tight because it is at the front and it will take away your edges if you make it too tight. So please be gentle on your edges. And remember, we all trying to maintain a healthy hairline. Thank you. After placing the rubber band onto that square, I just comb the hair and part out the second square that I will attach the hair from the first square onto. After parting it out, I apply the gel onto the base. And brush it in with an old toothbrush to make the hair flat and to make sure that it doesn't leave a white residue. I then take a second rubber band, then take the hair from the first square, and I will place this hair in the center of the second square. So that is why I'm going to divide the hair from the second square into 2 in the middle, and then take that hair from the first square, place it at the center, then try to hold all of the hair, which is the hair from the first square and the hair in the second square. And then once I have a good grip on that, I put on the rubber band to tie everything together. And that is what it looks like. Any residue, just rub in with your finger. Now I am going to comb the hair from the second square, and then I will prep the third square so that I insert the hair from the second square. So now I'm going to apply gel onto the base of the third square, which is the last square on this first row. After applying on the gel, I will brush the base with the old toothbrush. And once I'm done with that, I take my rubber band and take the hair from the second square, place it in the center of the third square, hold everything together. Once I have a good grip, tie it all together with the rubber band. And I'm done with the first row using the rubber band method. Now I'm moving on to the second row. I start off by spraying on some water onto the section. And then I part out my first square. keep the hair that I won't be using away from the square. Apply the gel onto the base of the first square. Brush in the gel and flatten the hair using an old toothbrush. Use a rubber band to tighten the hair from the first square, but be gentle on the first square because it is along the hairline. And once that's tight to comfort, comb through the hair from the first square. Part out a second square behind the first one. Apply gel onto the base of the second square. Brush in the gel using a toothbrush. Oh, you can also use an edge brush if you own one of those. Take the hair from the first square, place it at the center of the second square, grip all the hair together and tie together with a rubber band. Comb through the hair from the second square. Part out the third square behind the second square. Apply gel onto the base of the third square. And brush in the gel using the brush. Take the hair from the second square and place it in the center of the third square. Grip all that hair together, then tighten with a rubber band. Also remember that these squares are not all going to be perfect squares, because after all, we human, we hardly ever do anything perfect, but somehow we find the perfection in imperfect things. Anyway, they are going to be your version of the best, so do your best. And at any point when you feel like you tied in hair that is not supposed to be in that section, just do as I did and remove it using a comb. Now I comb through the hair from the third square. Apply gel onto the base of the fourth square. Brush in the gel onto the fourth square. Apply more gel if necessary. And take the hair from the third square, place it in the center of the fourth square. Grip all the hair together and tie it all together with a rubber band. And that is what this side basically looks like. And as I've done on this side, I'm going to do onto the other side. As you can see, yes, that is the front. But now I have to start working on the back. Oh my god, I was tired at this point, I don't wanna lie. Parting out this much, not easy, because I thought this was going to be a quick and simple hairstyle, but no, it took me a bit more time than what I had expected. So here at the back, I'm going to start working with the hair that is at my nape. That's why I'm tying the hair that is towards the center. So I part out the first square that is closest to my nape, and then I check if my parting is good and that I like it. Apply the gel onto the base of that first square. Brush in the gel and tie that square with a rubber band. Check to see that it's fine because it is at the back of my head. Now I move on to the second square. Part that out. Keep the hair that is towards the center away from the parted square. Check with a hand mirror to see if the parting is fine. If not, then I go in and I correct that parting to make sure that it is up to my satisfaction. Still not happy, so I went in again to try and make the parting a bit more straight. And once I was happy, I applied on the gel, and same procedure as in the front, except this time my line, or yes, my line is starting from the back and it's coming up. Now from the back of my head, I ended up doing 4 squares that are joined on this side, and I'm going to do it on the other side, and that is what it looks like. Ain't that lovely? Yeah, that's lovely. Now the rubber band part of the hairstyle is done, and I have 8 remaining sections of hair that I will be doing the bantu knots onto. Here I'm going to show how to prep the hair. So I've cutted it once at the center, and this is the length, and here I am fluffing it out by pulling the ends from one side, and I'll pull the ends all the way onto the other side until the end is not straight and blunt. This is what a fluffed end looks like. After fluffing out one end, the hair will look like this. So I'm just going to rake through it using my fingers just to straighten everything and to make sure that it is not messed up as what it looks like. And if ever some hair starts falling out at the base, just hold it and bring it back up to the rest of the hair, and at the end you should end up with something like this. I then part this hair into the different sections that I need. Now I am going to do my first bantu knot. So I start off by combing through this hair, and then I will attach the artificial onto this as a braid in the same way that I did with the braids that are on the sides, except this one is going to be a bigger braid, and I will use this braid to make the bantu knot. I also keep in mind to try and cover my natural hair with the artificial hair, because the artificial hair is a color 1 and my natural hair is a color 2 to 4. So I always try to cover my natural hair, but I'm not the best at covering up natural hair when braiding. But also when you do it, just try your best, you know. I'm basically going to be doing braids onto all these remaining sections of my natural hair in the same way. Guys, so when I was busy trying to do what I'm supposed to be doing, the rubber band on this section decided to break. Tell me why would it do that? Making me redo things over and over again. Imagine. Oh my goodness. So I had to attach a new rubber band and just continue doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because I needed to finish this look, because I already knew it was going to be fire. And I wasn't letting any rubber band formed against me prosper. No sir, not today. And as I had done on this side, I did the same thing onto the other side and ended up with 8 large braids. Then I created the bantu knots using the braids by just taking one braid and wrapping it around in one direction, forming the bantu knot. That is all. That is all I do for the bantu knots. And I do this onto all of the braids, and this is what will result in me having 8 bantu knots. Remember to cut away any excess hair that is disturbing you when you are trying to create a look with artificial hair. And when you are wrapping around your bantu knots, wrap in a direction that you are comfortable with, and make sure that it is not too tight, because when it is too tight, it will pull on the hair that is at the base of the bantu knot, which is your natural hair. As you guys can see, on this side I am wrapping in the opposite direction that I wrapped in on the other side, because I'm more comfortable wrapping in this particular direction for this side. My arms were tired at this point and I just wanted to be done. And those are the bantu knots done and dusted. And now back to the braids on the sides. I'm going to be attaching on these see-through beads onto these braids, and I'll be using this little instrument that they come with. So this instrument comes with the beads, and the beads are supposed to fit into it. So I had to push in the beads a bit because initially they didn't fit in. And then take the braid and insert it into that small hole that is there. If you need the hole to be bigger, you'll obviously insert less beads onto this instrument and then just push the beads onto the braid. And there you have your beads on the braids. And there I have all the beads. So I'm going to show you guys how to secure the beads onto the braid. So this is the first method, using a rubber band. So I take the last bead away from the rest of the beads, flip up the braid hair, then attach the braid onto itself and secure with the rubber band. And that is how you can secure the beads, and then just cut off the excess braiding hair. That is one method. And the second one is to simply tie a knot at the end of the beads using the braiding hair. And make sure that the knot is nice and tight and will not unravel. Some people do cut this off and then put a bit of glue, some burn it, but I burnt mine at the end. And this is me all done. So I went on to lay my edges, but I forgot to record that. So here we are with the final reveal. Child, look at me. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, I am overly blowing my own horn here, but this is the look and I am happy with it. I hope you guys learned something from this video, because woo, the explaining I did. Look at the back. All by myself. And you can too. Wow. Wow. Black girl magic, what is this? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched up till the end, please subscribe. And I'll see you on my next video. Social media links also in description box.